Hello and welcome to StoryFellas, a podcast where we make stories and we break stories. I'm your host, Tommy Antonucci.
And I'm your host, Zach Lovelace.
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
It's good. We're up early.
We are doing another morning episode because schedules are crazy.
Yep. We are two busy guys, and sometimes we got to squeeze episodes in for you guys. Also, as you can see, for those on YouTube, I am in a different location-ish. I'm in the same room, just a different angle, because I'm in the middle of updating my whole podcasting look here. So this is really a transitional episode. It'll be very valuable later on because it's like a misprint.
Yeah. You're like, do you have the holographic Zach weird angle Pokemon card?
Oh yeah. Check this angle out.
Is this the angle that you're when you upgrade your stuff? Is this where you're gonna shoot?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I was gonna like decorate behind me. You know, as you can see right now, here's a tour of everything, all the garbage in my room. I've got some vintage cameras. Got a bookshelf over here. Some of my wife's sewing, quilting stuff. A baby toy.
You're like, I have no idea what that thing is.
I don't know. I don't play with it. But like yeah. So thanks, man. Appreciate it. Transition times call for weird things, you know.
Yeah. If you're watching, I'm still my video quality is just going down as Zach's gonna go up. Eventually, I'll just be talking into a Rock Band microphone.
Ooh, I would like that actually. I was the singer in my Rock Band, so.
Ooh, nice. I liked playing the drums in Rock Band. It was it was funny because I think this in real life too, like in a real band, but also especially when you're playing Guitar Hero or Rock Band or whatever. The drummer, it's so much more tiring to be the drummer than to be anyone else when you're playing Rock Band. Because like you'd finish a song and then your friend on the guitar is like, that was fun, let's do another. And you're like sweating and you're like,
yes,
yeah, let's do another one.
They say like that, I don't know who they is, but whoever the authority on these games is, that the drumming was the one most closely related to actually playing the instrument.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I think like
although singing would have to be pretty, you know, I mean, I'm not a great singer, but you just got to hit a note.
Well, I guess, yeah, singing, like you're practicing, like that's like one-to-one practicing. Like if you're singing in the game, you are singing in real life.
Yeah.
If you're drumming in the game, you are basically drumming in real life. I think there's better technique, like because drummers like cross over and they hit different things for different things. Guitar playing, people would always, because I play guitar, and people would be like, well, I'm like really good at Guitar Hero, so I probably like transition really easily.
Oh, no way.
And it's like the only part is maybe your hands doing different things.
Yeah,
like
strumming
there's something
different.
about that, like your hands, like this hand's doing one thing while you're strumming at different pace. Like there's that, but you have 5 buttons on the Guitar Hero, and there's like 6 strings and multiple frets on the guitar. So I was like, it's not exactly a one-to-one correlation.
I want to talk to those guys now. I want to talk to those guys who were saying, I could actually probably play guitar. Like,
well, it's actually, they grew up to be Slash, so they were right.
Wow. I thought he was old back then, but no. He grew up.
Well, I was friends with the old him when I was like 10 years old. It's like, Slash, come play Guitar Hero with me.
What? Play what? But no, those games, man, I haven't played them in forever, but that was our jam. No pun intended.
Sounds like it was intended.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, man. We're going to tell a story this morning. I believe
yes, we are.
Got a scrap for us to dive into.
Yes, I do.
Bring to life.
Yeah, it's one of the scrappiest scraps. You know, I'm not saying it's a full log line. It's not at all, which actually should be fun. It just pushes us in a direction. For those who don't know, we do episodes where we roll dice usually and get prompts and then create a story based on those prompts. Sometimes we do scrap episodes where just a writerly thing is just collect little bits of a story, but not actually have enough to make a story. It's kind of frustrating. It's fun to just bring it to another writer and be like, hey, what would you do here? And that's basically what we're going to do. But like I said, this is a very scrappy scrap, so there's not a whole lot. I want just to tell you that there's a specific genre and then like 2 or 3 things about that. That's basically what constitutes this scrap.
Okay.
So it's a story. It's a Western. Okay.
Right.
For those who don't know, Western is a genre. It's an American genre. Usually has to do with lawlessness.
Takes place in California.
Yeah, or out west.
Like surfers.
Oh, sure.
Like,
yeah. Yes, those guys are on the West Coast. I guess that could be a Western.
You couldn't get more west than that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. We're literally on the edge of the continent. Yeah, so it's a Western.
Yep.
Again, cowboys,
Horses,
usually horses, ranches,
gunslingers.
natives, all that
Hmm.
stuff. Those are the tropes of the genre. So
Hmm.
imagine a Western, but you have centaurs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, that's pretty cool. Uh,
Are
and there's a couple of other like magical beings that I thought could be in there. Um, but yeah, I wanted to just start out with the centaur thing.
I like that a lot, actually. That's very refreshing and fun because westerns, I don't watch a ton of westerns. I think I would like them though. They kind of
Oh
follow
man,
the
yeah.
same footprint all the time where
Yeah,
you have
just
this lone
usually that's
person.
why it's a genre. It's like very
Yeah.
identifiable.
Yeah, but centaurs are a natural fit because of horses, clearly.
Hmm.
Um, do you picture the centaurs being the bad guys, and you have
That can be kind of cool.
more a human protagonist,
I think
and
human
then
protagonist is probably necessary.
mhm.
I'm not a fan of like the new direction that certain things, like certain stories. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like having a robot as a main character, stuff like
Mhm.
that. That's actually quite alienating. Um, Maybe that's just me. Wally was very alienating. I get it. I
Y-
get it. Wally was about like a robot main character, and you eventually see humankind from a different perspective. That's good. But yeah, you know what I
So
mean?
you want someone that you can relate to, a human
I want a
protagonist.
human. Yeah, I want a
That's
human.
fine.
A
I'm
human
trying to
boy.
think. Human boy, is this and this is not a comedy? You want to go for a legit
Um,
western?
I think it could be comedic. I don't know.
Because
It's gonna be no matter what, like with us telling it. So I feel like,
the
we could
immediate
have more
joke
fun with it.
I think of is the protagonist, and he's just this hardened Western guy, and he walks into the town. He's in the saloon, and they're like, "You gotta be careful. There's a rough crowd, led by this guy." And he's like, "I've handled a lot of towns." And then there's centaurs. He's like, "There's centaurs."
Yeah, he has no idea they exist. And then suddenly it's like, whoa, I like the idea that somebody is like standing on like a fence, and they're leaned over and they're talking to it's like a girl or whatever. And she's like, oh, hee hee, flirting with the main character. He's like, oh, yeah, honey. These are really bad, rough dialogue, obviously.
Mhm.
And then he's like, why don't we go, have breakfast in town or whatever? And she's like, okay. And then clop, 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 clop. She walks around the fence and you realize that she's actually a centaur.
I like that. I think that's funny.
These are like, again, very comedic takes on it.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's the thing is like it's almost. I don't think it'd be hard to do a satire of a western with
Oh
this,
yeah, for sure.
But like you could also do a legit like Chronicles of Narnia esque world where it just
Yeah.
happens to be a western too, and that's also cool. I like the idea of it's like a Reepicheep esque rat, little like 2 foot tall rat. He's like the bartender, and they're like
Yeah.
cleaning the glasses.
It's making
Um,
him dirty. He's like
yeah,
cleaning.
they're like, those are dirtier. He spits in the glass, and he's like,
His name
I
could be
love
Loogie.
Loogie the rat bartender. I like that.
So yeah, I do like it being peppered with other mystical beings. I think the main bad guy I actually wanted to be a cyclops, like a
Mm,
giant cyclops. They're known for
okay.
being herdsmen. In the Odyssey, they were herding sheep. Here, it can be cattle. But it's just a huge, big, kind of John
And
Huston voice.
his name is like something like weird, like Bracco or something like that. Like
Yeah, I like that. Baracco or just Bracco?
I said Bracco, but I'm good with either.
Let's go
Bracco or
Baracco.
Baracco or
Beracco.
yeah, Beraco.
Yeah, so look at that. We
Yeah,
can't even spell on this
Bracco,
podcast.
the Cyclops.
It's me,
I like it. So
Baracco.
how big is he? Is he like 7 feet, or is he
I
like
imagine
super
he's like
big?
12 feet.
Oh,
Like
okay,
he's a
he's real big.
solid. Yeah, he could pick up a man because he's got to be bigger than a centaur. So
Yeah,
even 12 feet would probably be too short. Maybe 20 feet.
that's really big. He can't like go into any establishments or anything.
Well, I imagine he lives in a cave somewhere, but he's like
Yeah,
he's the big bad rancher.
yeah.
Um,
He
and yeah,
does he have like a giant gun? That'd be
that
funny.
would be really cool, like a cannon.
Yeah, like yeah, just a cannon on his hip.
Yeah, he just picks it up, drops a cannonball in there.
He's like, I'm supposed to fight him. Uh,
That's cool.
I picture the protagonist like being named Rex or something, or Ace, or
You're
you
thinking
know, just
Tex.
Tex. We could do
Yeah, no.
Tex.
No. That's too on the
It's
nose.
TECHS. He's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
really he's like
He
really
loves
like tech.
technology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like got like robots and stuff. Really mixing our genres here.
We are. So yeah, I think the centaurs are populated. Not like every horse is a centaur though. You know, it's not like they're
Yeah,
completely replaced one for one. I think that's
yeah,
full fantasy. I just
mm,
like that it's a few
yeah.
of them are in there,
I
and
think we
they
should.
aren't like horses either. They're not like dumb. You know, they're people first. I
Yeah,
think.
that yeah, they're just dumb horses.
And
Um,
ooh.
I keep thinking of jokes, and I feel like we could do like kind of like make it funny.
Yeah.
I think we could either make this route that this is just a world where these things exist all over the world, or this is like unique because that is kind of fun if we have a classic gunslinger guy and he comes to this town and just this town happens to be kind of magical. It's like in the middle of the desert, and
Yeah.
then there's just centaurs and like talking animals and stuff, and
That's
he's like
cool.
kind of thrown into something new. And then he has to be like, I've killed men before, but I've not killed a 20-foot cyclops before.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think that is kind of cool. I think the town could be the name of the movie would probably be the name of the town if he ended up there. Like, let's say he was in a gunfight
mhm,
initially and he gets like blasted off a bridge, falls in the
mhm,
water, wakes up miles down the road, and he's in
mhm.
this town. He gets like taken care of by these ranchers or farmers that are centaurs, and he's kind of coming in and out of consciousness, and it's like this pretty farm girl and her
Mhm.
mom and dad and everything, and it's like, oh, but they're straight up centaurs.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so not all centaurs are bad. There's some good centaurs there too.
yeah. Although I like the idea of the magical beings being bad. Like that is, I feel
Mm.
most people don't go that route where it's like, oh, we have to understand them. They're different, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just make them evil. Like
Okay.
I quite like that, but I don't mind if you're trying to get the main character into this world,
Mhm,
basically. I think it makes
mhm.
more sense that there would be a faction of them that wouldn't be evil.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I kind of feel like it'll be easier to tell the story if they're not all evil, because then it
mhm.
just is it adds a bit more fun because he's going to be helped by these magical creatures that he doesn't know also.
Yeah.
Because I like Loogie. I like Loogie,
Yeah,
the
yeah, it's
rat
true.
guy, and I do like the bit like maybe it's like I really like him falling into the river in some like gunfight or something. Like
Mhm.
he kills the guy, but he gets shot like once or twice and falls in the
Yeah.
river. So he beats the guy, but he like drifts away, and that feels like a good excuse for him to end up in a magical thing. He's like, "Did I die?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "Not sure." And then the end, he's just dead. Like none of this happened.
Yeah, that's a great ending, great ending. Uh, maybe he could be a lawman.
Mhm,
So we have him on his star or whatever. He's very proud of it, that
mhm,
kind of thing. And he ends up, catching the main bad guy in the beginning. We do like a little vignette, like
mhm.
5 minute thing, and we see that he's got like a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, somebody that really cares about him. And he ends up blasting the bad guy, killing the whole gang. Um, and maybe there's like a little reporter guy there or whatever. And it's like, oh, I'm trying to think of a gunslinging name for this guy. Um, but he's like a bounty hunter,
Gunner.
maybe. Gunner,
Gunner.
yeah. Oh, Gunner Robertson, he gunned him down. The headline writes itself. um, yeah, so that's fine with me. That's fine with me.
To call him Gunner?
I don't know. Maybe it's not fine with me. It really pushes us into like goofy territory.
Let's call him like
Because they have like Two Gun is like, oh, his name is Tommy Two Gun.
his name was Tommy Two Gun.
Yeah. But
Shot
he's
him
a
with two
lawman. Like,
guns.
is he a lawman? Is he a type of like sheriff? Is he because then you could roll off of that. Or is he just like a good gunslinger guy?
I feel like making him a sheriff could be. I don't know. I feel like I've seen both stories because clearly the classic gunslinger is your Wolverine type esque, like
Yeah.
drifter, not really wanting to be there, forced to be the hero.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to make him a lawman, like a guy who is trying to do the right thing.
Mm.
And then we have to kind of find his arc of what his thing. Maybe his thing is that he always feels like he has to protect people alone, and then he needs to learn how to like work as a team.
Yeah,
Clearly he would need to because he's fighting a 20-foot tall guy. Like he can't do that on his own.
totally.
Um,
Yeah, I think him being the classic Western arc, I feel like, is white hat versus black hat. So you got the good guy, the bad guy. Then in
mhm,
the modern kind of era, post good, the bad, and the ugly, the good guy is bad kind of
mhm,
thing. Like, or at least maybe not bad. Morally ambiguous might
mhm,
be the way to go.
mhm.
As opposed to like John Wayne. It's not really, we know he's good. Although in the Searchers, he kind of gets bad. So maybe the arc, I don't know. It just depends. Depends on what his goal is. If it's to get back to humanity or get back to his world.
Yeah, I think
Um,
if we give him a wife or girlfriend or something that's like recent and he falls into a river and disappears, there's not a ton of the like falling in love aspect of the story
there would be
because like
tension with it. I
yeah, there
think
could be
that's
tension or we have it like his wife dies like years before and that kind
mm,
of sets him more on that semi-drifter, but he was like a lawman kind of
mhm.
thing. Um, because it is kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Do we want him to stay there, or is it kind of more like he goes on this adventure and then he leaves this place?
It's a good
Um,
question. I imagine he gets the opportunity to leave, but chooses to stay. Would be the would be the wholesome arc.
yeah.
But that would be the end of his arc. Is like I have a home now. Um,
Hmm.
we could make him not a gunslinger. Like we could make him. It's less tropic than
Hmm.
that. He could be coming home from. This is from what you call it, the Searchers. He comes home from the Civil War. John Wayne is a Confederate soldier. We don't have to make him a Confederate. I get that's kind of outdated at the moment, but
Hmm.
um, we can make him a Union soldier, or we can make him whatever. It's like it doesn't need to be that Civil War. It could be, you know,
Mm.
a later conflict or something, and he's just out west. Um, Mercenary guy, just kind of takes care of himself. Again, a Wolverine,
Hmm.
who's then picked up and taken care of by these really nice centaurs, and he ends up like taking their conflict. It's more like Shane. Have you ever seen the Western Shane?
I've not seen it.
Famous quote is very end of the movie. Spoiler alert: little kid is chasing after Shane, the gunslinger, and he's like, "Come back, Shane! Come back!" So Shane blows into town. He's like trying to make a new start for himself.
Hmm.
These cattle rustler dudes are making this little farm town. They're like destabilizing it, taking it from people, bullying them. The dad of the main family with the little boy is like one of the guys standing up against them. He gets, accosted or whatever. And Shane has to use his very specific gunslinging skills to get out. But he realizes he's a violent man, so he'll never really have a home. So he leaves at the end, and it's
Hmm.
better for the little boy to not grow up knowing him.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the broken tragedy of it all: is that the little boy got to know him, got to love him, got to look up to him,
Hmm.
taught him how to be heroic. But then it's like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I can't be here.
I'm too tough.
Yeah, which I don't mind. But yeah, you could take a gruff character like that, who, like you said, has had some sort of loss or something.
Hmm.
Um,
And yeah, maybe we're trying too hard to break that trope. Like we're already
that's
adding the
true.
magical creatures. I think I'm trying to break the trope and be like, how could he be interesting and different? Maybe we just kind of write him as a normal Western dude,
Yeah,
and it's just the scenery around him is unique and different.
I think I got it.
Okay.
That initial bridge standoff. He's a
Hmm.
deputy, and he's
Hmm.
cowardly,
Okay.
and he lets his sheriff get killed, and he gets
Mm.
like blasted off the bridge in the process,
Mm.
and ends up in the river with like you know a wagon, his dead boss, and a bunch of dead horses. That because there's some TNT that blows up or whatever. I think that's kind of cool. Then he's in this dreamlike state in the water, and then wakes up and gets dragged out. I think that's cool. And but he has the sheriff's badge. Like he gets up and like, oh, you're a sheriff. Like you're a good guy.
Hmm.
And he's like, oh yeah, but he doesn't really know if he is. He was in that situation before. We can then bring that big bad back.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, that's kind of cool. That gives me vibes of Road to El Dorado. You know, when
oh
like you
yes,
have
yes,
the like the soldier guys team up with like the other guy. Like you've got multiple bad guys kind of combining forces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
I
like
like
that a
that,
lot.
and I like the story. Like I've seen that before, but it's because it works. Of this guy, like you misunderstand. Again, it's kind of like El Dorado. It's like, oh, you're this.
You're a
You can
god.
help us.
Yeah.
Um, and then they kind of have to fake it till they make
Mm-hmm.
it, and they probably fail along the way, and then they eventually step up and actually do it. I like that. What's this deputy's name?
Let's see.
Chris,
Chris.
or it could be
Christopher.
cooler.
It could, I mean,
Christopher.
it could be cooler. I think Christopher
Not that
Silver.
Chris, not for the Chris's out there. Not that Chris is not, but it's like Gunner. Like Gunner is just like the
Yeah,
11
yeah.
on the knob, and then like Chris is more like the 5. So do
Yeah,
we
I
need
think
it to
Chris
be?
Silver is his name.
Ooh, that's cool. Chris Silver.
It's always second place.
He says that in passing to like the kids, like the Chris Silver. The back in school they used to say, "I'm always in second place." And the
Mm-hmm.
kid's like, "What?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Never mind." He just like,
Yeah.
he goes on with his business.
Yeah, I think that works. I think it's like, you know,
Sheriff Silver.
yeah, that
Sheriff
sounds
Silver.
cool to eventually be the sheriff of this town. That might be his arc, is like eventually he found where he could be sheriff.
Yeah, I like that.
Um,
So he wakes up, he gets dragged out of the thing.
mhm.
I think,
It's like Back to the Future where Marty gets picked up and taken by his
yeah,
mom. It's like that. And I imagine Lorraine or whatever, that might be her name, uh, as a horse, like picks him up and you just get like you see the horse's hooves, you see the woman, and she's like, "Are you okay?" You know, it's like real close up, dreamy kind of thing. And he's
uh-huh.
just, and then he's in the bed, you know.
Yeah, I like the idea of him being in the bed and he's recovering and like no one's in the room. And I like that scene of
Although
they,
the centaurs wouldn't have beds.
oh, yeah,
But they
he's
could
just
just put him in a bed. Like they could have a bed, you know, for when humans stay. I don't know. It's not
that
that.
should be a line at some point. He's like, do you have somewhere I could sit down? And they're like, we're centaurs.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, oh, never mind. Yeah, I guess they put him on the floor or like on a thing of hay or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't really know.
That would
But
make the most sense, like in a barn.
yeah, like he's like, yeah, on a sack of something. And then he wakes up, and I imagine no one's really there, and he kind of starts stumbling around, looks around, and I really like the idea that there's this fence, and there's horses, and then there's the lady centaur, but like
Yeah.
she's obscured by the horses, so like he thinks she's riding a horse like
Yes.
behind,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then he's like, "Oh, ma'am, duh. Did you save me?" Or like just having small talk, and she's like, "Oh yeah." And then there's because you get like her bob
Yeah.
is kind of that horsey kind of bob. And then he's like, "Well, I just want to say I'm so thank." And then she like comes out around the horse. He's like, "Oh, oh." He just-
I love
and he
that.
like
Yeah.
falls over scared, and she's like, "You're like." I like the idea that this magical world, it's not weird to them. Like it's weird that
Yeah.
it would be weird to anybody. Um, and then he's like, yeah, and then we introduce, and then like she's like, "My parents are right over there," and they're like galloping over.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if we want to give names to all three of them. We needed one for at least
At
the
least
girl. Is
their
she like
last
the
name.
main love interest?
Yeah. Lorraine. I think Lorraine
Lorraine?
is good. Yeah.
Lorraine, I'll
I'll make my
think.
notes too here. For those listening, we like to make notes.
Lorane,
It's Lorrane double R.
double R. Lorraine, the centaur. Yeah, we do so many of these. We tend to forget the names if we don't write them down. Maybe not within the episode. Sometimes within the episode, this helps me a lot actually to
Oh
write down
yeah,
the names.
absolutely. And then we had Baracco, the Cyclops.
Bracco, Loogie the rat,
Oh yeah,
Chris
Loogie.
Silver,
Loogie. That's all he
Loogie.
ever
Hey,
says.
he's like a Pokemon. He's like Loogie. Can he only say his name?
He like
He
snorts and
actually
just
he actually can say more. He just doesn't do it
yeah.
until the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
"Great
that's a
job,
story.
great job, kid." And he's like, "You can talk," and that's the final line of the movie. You can talk.
Mm.
He's like, "I'm a bartender. You didn't think I could talk?" Um,
I took a vow of silence.
okay, cool. So we got going through the beats. I think, yeah, we introduce him.
Mm-hmm.
His his cowardice thing, falls in the river. They pull him out of the river. He's like, "Whoa." They're like, "Hey, maybe a nice transition is like, uh, oh, let's go get you something to." They either make him something or they're like, "Hey, let's
Oh,
go
like,
into
hey, dinner's
town."
ready. Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah. We made it would be really funny if this is not a comedy, but I feel like it's like that Dungeons and Dragons, I think. It's
yeah,
that
that's a
kind
probably
of
perfect tone.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that tone. Because I imagine they're like, "Come on, we prepared some dinner," and they're eating dinner, and their table is so tall, and
Yeah.
he's like this, like with his he's
Yeah. Standing on a
like
chair. Yeah.
a little kid. Like, well, they don't have a chair. They don't have chairs.
Well, that's true, I guess. That's very
Yeah.
true. Or maybe
He,
like, hey, you could sit up here with me. And Lorraine like pats her butt.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah, I
like,
guess.
is that offensive? Can I do that?
In the middle of it, he's like, you guys have been very kind to me, but it stinks in here.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, and then yeah, he's like still kind of like half thinking, is this a dream or what? He's like
Yeah.
eating the stew or whatever. And there I think there needs to be a transition. Like they're on their little farm and they're say, "Oh, Lorraine was gonna." We have names for the parents, whatever. Lorraine was gonna run into town tomorrow morning to grab some stuff, some supplies for us. If you want
Hmm.
to go check it out, and she's like, "Oh, okay." Uh, and then that starts introducing us to the bigger world, and we get to meet people. We get to meet Luigi, and I
Yeah.
think there are humans there too. Clearly, there's normal people.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know how to explain that they've just all been, stranded there somehow. I don't know.
well, I feel
Sorry,
like
morning episode. Ugh.
yeah, it's all good. I think we just kind of take a page from Narnia and just like it's almost like I think we need to picture it almost like he falls into an alternate world a little bit
Yeah,
rather
of
than
course.
like this town alone is magical
That's
because
fair.
to him it's one and the same. Like he's in this town and this town is magical and he doesn't know. And I don't think we have to really explain it, but I think they just act like everything's normal. Like
Yeah.
they're not acknowledging like, "Oh, only in this town are magical creatures allowed to live," or something.
Yeah.
I think it's
He goes
just
through some
when
sort of portal of some kind.
yeah, we love our portals.
Portals are good.
Lucy just like Lucy meeting Tumnus, and he's just like, "Oh,
Oh,
hey."
yes.
Like he's not caught off guard. He is caught off guard when he finds out she's a human, but I think it just little world swap and then he's there and we
Yeah.
don't linger on that too long.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah,
and
and I
then
imagine
they
he's
go
he's injured. Chris is injured a little bit.
mhm,
But they find him with, she keeps calling him sheriff.
mhm,
I think that's
sure.
important because then that mistaken identity thing. And at the end, he has to tell us like, look, Lorraine, I'm not who you think I am.
Yeah.
I'm some cowardly deputy that stood behind my sheriff while he got his head blown off. It's a real Zach Lovelace line, but you know what I mean.
It's they, they just they just kept shooting pistols at his head until it came clean off.
Yeah. And I
They were
blew out
they were
my-
excellent shots.
Yeah. These bad guys. And if they ever found a place like this, they'd, wreck it, whatever. But those are horse thieves, I think is what they should be. That way they attack the centaurs when they get there.
Yeah.
You're
Uh
telling me there are beings out there that are half hot lady, half horse? Hooray, I hit the jackpot.
oh yeah, I we'll have to explore how they get there. Do they like jump in the river? They're like,
I don't know. That's
we
true.
gotta
I
find them.
imagine instead of the bridge thing, or maybe there's a bridge to like a cave system.
Mm,
So the cave system is what it is, and it's like, oh, maybe that just was the bad guy hideout or whatever, and there's a river in the cave, which happens, and he gets knocked into that and gets like sucked through. But they
mm,
eventually are like blasting through, and they find, oh, whoa, maybe something accidentally comes back up the other way, kind of indicates,
mm.
um, you know, that there's valuable stuff on the other side. I don't know.
Oh, that's kind of
Um,
cool. Yeah, some weird monster, just like some a talking fish is like, "Hi, fellas," and they're like, "Oh," and they all shoot
they
it.
just smash it. That could be cool.
And then yeah, we'll come back to them. I think we need to establish more with
Yeah.
Chris. So
So
he
yeah,
goes into
Chris.
town. Maybe he's like maybe in a little sling, like he's like sprains
Yeah.
something or something. It's just like I don't know. A sling is a
Like a cut
perfect
on his head, something
yeah,
like
cut
that.
on his head. A sling's like the perfect movie conveying. It's like they're kind of hurt, like
Yeah.
they're just someone walking around in a sling, and then they're better after like 2 days.
Yeah.
Um,
That's how it works.
and then yeah, just again, this could be a world building episode if we wanted it to be. I don't want to slip too deep
Oh
into
no,
that
I
because
think
I think
yeah.
it just think Narnia, think Middle Earth a little bit. Like
Hmm.
you got like
Rules wise, yeah.
animals walking around talking. You got people. You've got I don't picture it's like Western themed. It's not Middle Earth in the sense of like, oh, bow and arrows and swords.
Yes.
Like they have pistols and guns and saloons, and it's that just with those characters populating it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
he gets to town and he meets the big bad who's bigger than any big bad he's ever met, Baracco.
Baracco.
And he's just coming into town. He's like reaching his hand into the saloon. He's just like, oh, grabs a
Yeah,
bucket.
he gets like a barrel of
Yeah, a
like
barrel. Yeah.
of mead and drinks it. And yeah, I think it's in true Western fashion. I feel like the bad guys are not crazy bad as long as people do what they want.
Yeah.
Like people give them stuff and they kind of like bully and they're like
Hmm.
roughing feathers, but they're not like coming in killing people. But then they're like, yeah, who's this new guy?
Hmm.
He like Baraka like flicks him over.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, breaks all of his ribs.
Yeah. Puts him back
Kills him.
in the
Yeah, kills him. That's the end of the movie. Oh, sorry, bud. I didn't know. I didn't know it was that strong.
Sheriff Smear. Yeah, I want a character I always go back to is the Cyclops from Hercules.
Oh yeah,
He's
you
in it
talked
for
about
so
that.
little, but he's like that. He's not that big, but he's
Yeah,
like that. He's fat, just
yeah,
puny little Hercules.
yeah.
Oh,
I,
you're a
I like that.
human.
And then let's give. He probably has like a little entourage of at least like one or two other main character bad guys, don't you
Yeah,
think?
a troll probably.
A troll. Yeah, they're all kind of like bigger, brooding, and then like maybe a snake, like a big
Mm,
snake, would be
I think a
cool.
big snake could be really cool. I think the troll should be saved for a set. It's a setup and a payoff. So they have to cross a bridge to get to town, and they have to
Hmm.
deal with the troll
Hmm.
the whole time. And so
Hmm.
he's like irascible, but he's likable enough or whatever. But he's like, I'm neurotic. You need to give me 3 coins, or I'm going to eat you, or whatever it is. And it's like he helps him get over that or whatever. And I can just imagine him saying like, "Oh yeah, you should go across that bridge," at some point to the main the
Mm.
human bad guys from the previous part, and the troll takes care of them, or like helps like surprise, like he's totally disarmed. Chris has been beat up again by the main bad guys. This is jumping to the end, but they've come
Mhm.
in, burnt the centaur family's home, and now he's helping do. I just think that's a real nice setup and payoff.
Yeah, so the payoff is the troll kind of helps him a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Or he
I
just
like that.
allows them, they don't know the rules, and so he allows the troll, he uses the troll for like a quasi ambush and allows him to cause some craziness so he can get a gun and be the
Okay,
hero,
that's cool. He like
you know.
throws 3 coins at him. He's like, and he throws a fourth, and he's like, "This is a tip if you give them some trouble." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh!"
Well, I
It just
imagine he
starts
just
like
doesn't tell
attacking them.
them that there's a troll under the bridge, and like you got to go across that bridge.
Oh yeah,
Um, you know.
and they
Anyway.
don't have 3 coins to give.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
like
yeah.
that. I think the troll's a nice setup and payoff. I'm wondering if we want to give him. We do like giving our characters animal sidekicks sometimes.
Oh yeah.
If there should be, or if we want to make, I like Loogie being the bartender, but do we want to make Loogie
Oh, you
like?
want him to get graduated to be a sidekick at some point.
Well, it's just like I don't know. I feel like Lorraine's gonna be there,
She's an
but like
animal sidekick.
but she's also like the main love interest, and I feel like there needs to be
Yeah,
like
we
a
combined
more.
it. Animal love interest lover. Lo- Animal love interest. That's what it is. Animal sidekick.
How's that gonna work later on?
I don't know, man. I thought of this idea and I thought it was like good. I wanted to talk about on the show.
they get married and they go on their honeymoon and he dies.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He dies shortly
uh,
thereafter that.
but but anyway, yeah, we could, like Lorraine can just be the sidekick. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like
Yeah,
you in Mario, you have like Princess Peach who's capable, and then you have Toad who's just kind of
that's
there.
true. That's true. So you're saying you wanted the troll, or you're thinking the
No, I think the
bartender?
troll's a great payoff. I'm just thinking, do we want like the rat, like the 2 foot tall rat,
No,
to
I
be?
I want it to be the town drunk. Whoever the
Oh,
town drunk is in this town, I
oh,
think is
can the town drunk be like this, like Toad, like
that would be
this
awesome.
big,
Yeah,
like this, like he's like 3 feet tall, and he wears like a suit that's all like
yeah.
wrinkly and stuff. And when he gets drunk, he does this big like
Oh, and he plays
thing.
the piano.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, of course.
Duh. But yeah, I like
Duh.
that. He's just like always playing it, and he's got like what's the guy's? You like him? The Earth Died Screaming. Who's the guy?
The Earth died screaming.
That's the song or the album.
Earth.
Tom Waits. Tom
Oh,
Waits voices this
I don't.
character.
Oh, I don't. I'm not big in Tom Waits, but my old roommate was super big in Tom Waits.
I
Um,
like him a lot. I think he'd be perfect for this frog character.
okay. I like the frog character. This is exactly what I wanted. He's not even like that much of a fighter. Like he's just kind of there
No,
as like,
he's the guy that like, hits someone over the head with a bottle. Like that's the town drunk thing, you know.
yeah. Like
Just
he's
like
like kind of an
perfectly.
aristocrat that has turned south and has
Yeah, he's like
fallen
I
to
spoiled away
alcoholism.
my fortune and now I'm here playing piano, or maybe he's an English frog. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to call him something dumb like Croaky, but I don't want to call him Croaky
No, too
either.
on the
I feel,
nose. We're not naming a
um,
Pokemon here.
I think like Alexander or something like that. Something
Okay,
like,
like an actual human name.
yeah, something that's like that would fit that like something upper class, you know?
Yeah, I
Something
think
that's like
an
the
Italian
well,
name could work. That would make it a little fancier, like
Giovanni.
Giovanni.
We both said Giovanni. Do we want to do Giovanni?
Well, we both. I mean, I feel like it has to be that. I
Okay,
know we said it
Giovanni the
literally at the same
frog.
time.
Giovanni. I'm gonna write that down. Giovanni the toad. The toad. He's not a frog.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
not a
toad.
frog. He's a desert. Although maybe that's why he's a frog is because he's always drinking. Do you know what I mean? Like I gotta stay
Oh,
wet.
yeah. Do toads not need to stay wet?
Mm-mm. They're
Okay.
totally land. They're all bumpy and
Okay, well then, yeah, he's like a smooth guy. Yeah, like his drunkenness is like he just like pours it on his skin,
yeah, yeah. I like
and
that.
then oh,
Yes,
we
quasi
could,
world building episode here, folks.
yeah, we could make him like Bender from Futurama, that he gets drunk if he gets too dry, so he
That's
has
interesting. Yeah, or he gets like I would say loopy would maybe be
yeah,
like
he's like, yeah, he's not
what are you
I
drinking?
don't want to make it too crazy because I do feel like, but
The rules,
it
yeah.
kind of makes sense, like where if he's a frog, then it's like I need to stay wet and there's like no water out here.
Yeah.
Um, that he just gets a bit more like he acts more tipsy if he goes too long without a drink or something like that.
I feel like that's too much of a rule system.
Yeah, like he's just a normal drunk because it's
Yeah.
also funnier if he's just not put together and disheveled and
Totally.
stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
He's got
Giovanni,
like a flask,
what if he was like the mayor too?
That could work as opposed to him being like the piano playing.
No, let's not make him that. I just thought it could be funny if he was like that level important, but I think
Yeah.
that just complicates things.
I think the whole thing here is that they don't have much order.
Yeah,
And Chris is going to help bring order.
yes,
Whereas uh Baracco rules by violence and
hmm
so I guess that's a form of order, but it's all very, he's basically the mayor,
yeah.
Baracco. He
So
rules by
I feel
gang.
yeah, I think if I'm gonna pull up this little story circle because I feel like we're on a really good trajectory. We have the U, we established him. He's a coward. He kind of left his friend in need. He kind of falls into this magical world, go across the threshold. That's not really him making the choice. He just gets thrown into it. And then he is in this town that has these
Hmm.
dangerous criminals in it. Uh, s- so like, I don't think these are one-to-one comparisons. The search, find, take. What he really needs to do is like the town is looking to him to help them. They're like, now that you're
Yes.
um
they're like, oh, a lawman, a real lawman, because that
Yeah.
sets him up for the misunderstanding about his identity, where he's
Uh-huh.
like, maybe he wasn't even a deputy, maybe he was just deputized,
Mhm.
so he was just a normal guy that happened to be there. Just he's like, I thought I was just gonna help, like,
Yeah.
but
I
then
was
I
gonna
ended up.
make a joke of him just being like, he was like, I was going to a costume party. This isn't.
Yeah, that is funny. I think
um,
he could even say like, I was just there to help clean up afterwards. Like that's what the sheriff, like they did. The sheriff himself was even kind of mean to him and was like, you can, help us pick up the bodies afterwards. And then they get totally decimated.
yeah,
Um, and so he's, yeah, I
yeah.
don't know.
I think we need to have some reasons, like just some minor reason. Maybe it's just that he's hurt, or maybe he's hiding his badge. That like the first time he meets the bad guys, that people aren't just like, we've got a sheriff now, like, and throw
Mhm.
him into the fray. Because I feel like he needs to be hidden, because that reveal that he's cowardly needs to happen like 2/3 into the movie. Um,
Yeah, I think
like
he's
people,
hiding behind something, and then Baracco, like he makes a noise, and
mm,
Baracco sees him and pulls him out, and like basically does a public shaming
mm,
because Baracco would see that he's wearing a star, and it's like, oh, we got a lawman, but a lawman doesn't want to say anything, da 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 da. I want to give him a hard
mm.
time.
So yeah, so I guess we're not at the point where the town's counting on him really at
Uh
this
huh.
point. He needs to kind of rise to that occasion, which I guess there's not a lot of stakes for
Yeah, I
him
think
at
he
that
would,
point.
or maybe we don't get to Baracco first. Maybe we imply him, but we
Uh-huh.
have like a secondary henchman that can show up.
The snake or something.
Yeah, yeah, that gives him a hard time.
He's like,
Uh,
I'm here to pick up the thing. I don't know why they sent the snake to pick up stuff up
yeah,
for the
yeah.
crew, but I'm gonna try. Or it'd be cool if he has like like he's like a like the cart titan from Attack on Titan. Like he's like,
Oh yes,
or
yeah,
like some sort of creature like that. Like their purpose is to carry cargo and stuff. Like
yeah,
it's like, and then there's like, load it up, boys, and then like they're
yeah.
like putting all the barrels in the thing.
That's cool. And
Um,
there's other human goons too. Like we,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I keep going back to the snake from Rango. I don't know if you've seen
Oh
Rango.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
That snake was so cool because his tail was this gun. Do
Yeah,
you
that
remember
was really
that?
cool.
Like I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
so that's so cool.
Yeah, I like
I
that a
don't
lot.
remember
This
much
this
else
guy's tail
from.
could be a brand.
Oh, that's like he
Yeah,
like
and
sticks
just
it
like
in fire and stuff,
and yeah, exactly.
and it's just an eye
Ooh,
for
that's cool. Or
Bracco.
like a yeah. Oh, that's true for Baracco. That's
Yeah,
cool. I like that
yeah.
a lot. The
Brands people with
brand.
his. He's like, start a fire. And then like
Ooh,
he
I like
brands
that.
people.
Lorraine's mom or dad. She should probably not have a dad or a mom. She should just have one.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll say Lorraine's dad.
hmm I think that makes
Is like a
sense.
weaker centaur, older centaur, but he
hmm
gets like grabbed and stands up to Baracco, but Baracco brands him at one point.
Mm. Oh yeah, his with the snake. I feel like the snake does it for him.
Yeah,
It's like Rack like holds him down and then he's like, "Let me show you." And it's right on his horse butt.
yeah. Not my precious butt. No, I'll name the snake. I'll name the snake.
Okay,
Snake's name is Pleeth.
spell that for me.
Pleeth.
Please, the snake. That's a cool name.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
It's
picture
just
he's like big. He's not like
yeah,
human
yeah.
size. He's like
He's
his
huge.
head is the size of probably maybe not like the Harry Potter snake, but bigger, a little bigger than that
Yeah,
probably.
I agree. Yeah, the basilisk thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be big. Um,
Yeah.
he's almost like the train.
The
It's weird. Yeah, he's almost like a train. Like
hmm.
you could get on him and like he could go away,
I
but that's
was
like
thinking
too
like
big.
yeah, it could be like the car. Man, riding a snake would be unpleasant because of the way they move. Like it would be
Yeah, you'd have
so
to have
car
saddles
sick.
on.
Well, no, I'm just saying the way you'd just be whipping back and
Oh
forth the
yeah,
whole time. Be
that's
like,
true.
did someone bring the Dramamine?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride Pleath to town. Holy smokes! Yeah, I think. Yeah, he's not the train. He's got to be big enough. Either that, or we like turn Pleath into not a snake, just a
Mhm.
secondary bad, like a fightable bad guy. Because if he's just as monstrous as
That's
Baracco,
true. That's
then it
true.
would be like, and
It's like, yeah, it's too hard to fight. I gotta fight him and then him.
I think the
I don't know
snake
which
thing
one's
is
harder.
cool as a cargo thing. Like that's what they use as a mule,
Yeah.
is just this big snake. But Pleath himself could be.
What if he's just like a lizard guy, like a
That's
lizard man,
cool.
but he's more humanoid. He's like human
Yeah,
size. So
Yeah, I
Pleath
like that.
is the lizard.
And maybe he's missing a hand and has a brand instead.
Oh, that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool. I like that. It's a Captain Hook, but brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like getting it in the fire. He's like, oh, too hot, too hot.
Yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh. No, that's cool. But I imagine they're like at the saloon and he first meets him where he's just got like a fork version and he's just like, you just like
Yeah.
you see that shot of the fork hitting into some like wriggling whatever. He
Oh,
lifts it up.
I like if he's we go a little steampunky with it where kind of like the pirate from Treasure Planet a little bit, where like
Hmm.
it's a fork
Oh,
or
it can like
something,
shing,
but
shing,
the
shing.
like it
Yeah.
like extends out and then it rotates and then like it can change into different
I'll go
things.
one step further.
Uh-huh.
He just does it himself. He just maybe his belt is literally a whole bunch of things and he just like sticks his hand down in there or
Oh, I
like
like
can like
that.
get it
Like it
stuck
like
and
I
then
like the belt because it's like a quick draw thing. Like
yeah.
there's a gun one,
There's a gun
like
one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then it's like it's jammed.
Yeah. I'm stuck. Oh, I shot myself. I think it's funny that he's a lizard and it didn't grow back. Like whatever his hand didn't grow back. I think
Yeah.
Baracco took it,
Mm. Yeah.
you
Okay.
know.
When Baracco takes something, you don't get it back.
Yeah. Yeah. He plays for keeps.
He plays for keeps. I like that. Okay. I really like this world. It is a little world buildy, but I think it's
We
also
have enough
it works.
plot where it's moving though.
Yeah,
Like
there's
cuz
the
he would encounter Pleath, Silver would
yeah.
encounter Pleath um and know and get to be part of the or understand the Baracco apparatus, so to
Hmm.
speak. People keep talking about Baracco.
Hmm.
He would have to do like a duel with him at the end. I think that would be kind of cool.
Uh-huh.
Um Baracco's main goal is just to rule, right? Like to continue to violently hedonistically get what he wants.
Hmm.
But I think he wants the Centaur family's land.
Mm.
So
Okay.
eventually, that's why he runs into conflict with the dad Centaur, and eventually like burns the thing down and brands um, the dad. I think that
Hmm.
makes sense. And
Yeah.
then he's like, "I've always wanted to keep a little pony," and he says that to Lorraine.
Mm.
You know,
I think that's a good Dark Knight of the Soul. That's like the midpoint or a little
hmm
after like burn down the farm. So does Pleath meet Chris like early on, like within the first half of the movie, like when
yeah,
he's
they
coming
give
to
him a
pick up
hard
stuff?
time when they come to the
They're
town for
like,
the
"Hey,
first time.
man, I see you wearing that badge, but don't get any funny ideas.
Yes, basically, he's
This
trying
is
to intimidate
Baracus Town."
him. Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot. And
Shoves
then
him
maybe
into the dirt,
totally.
spits on him, and then
Yeah,
Loogie comes and spits on him too.
yeah, yeah.
Loogie, and they'll runs back
Lugi's like
inside.
the little crumb thing from Jabba the Hutt's palace, and he's just like serving up drinks and laughing at bad things, I guess. But yeah, then he would meet
Loogie,
the
we need a new
frog.
bartender. If you become if you get rid of Bracco, you got to do something about Loogie next because
Yeah, yeah, Lugi's way bad.
he's spitting in all of our drinks. People are so diseased in this town.
I mean, that is really funny.
Yeah.
And he meets other human people where they're just like, "Hey, you ended up here too," or maybe they didn't all wash up there. Maybe they just live
Yeah, I
there.
think so.
They're just straight
Yeah,
up,
some humans are just natural humans that live there. Um,
yeah,
or they're I don't know, not human. I think I think in Narnia they get around that by because there's humans there. There's like humanoid people there. They just aren't humans, right?
yeah.
I
I
think
don't know. I mean, I know Santa's there and the Ice Queen.
that's true.
I don't know much
He's
more
like
about it. I haven't read it. Kate
he's
would
like
know.
I ain't human. Um,
Yeah, I know I look human, but I ain't human.
well
No,
then,
I think that's fine. They're just human people. And maybe
well,
he could grab them and they're just like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, this is how life normally is here. Like they're just like normal strangers. They
yeah,
want nothing to do with him.
I
But
think
Lorraine is like, hey, stick with me. You know,
I like it. I like our Dark Night of the Soul that kind of brings Chris needing to step up to he's like I got to do something. And maybe he needs to lean into being more clever because clearly these guys because at that point he would have met Baraka like that's the
yeah,
he shows up and he's like whoa he's big. I think obviously it's a morning episode and we have to end by a certain time. I
Yeah,
think
you're
we need
good.
to focus on the closure. I think we need to finish like how does he win? Because I think a
Mm.
lot of this makes sense and there's a lot of like
Well, if we
coloring in
rope
you
that
can do along
human
the way.
gang back in at the
Mm.
beginning,
Uh-huh.
if we kind of subplot them back in, they can be part of the ranch burning down.
Mm.
Maybe they're the ones who burned down the ranch. We kind of scratch the branding thing.
Mm.
Maybe that's just something that Pleath, intimidates him with to begin with. He's like, everything in this town belongs to Baracco. And he has like the thing right up close to Chris's face. It's just
Mm.
zzz. But I think eventually he kills Pleath. He
Yeah.
stands up to him. Pleath is maybe giving Lorraine or her dad a hard time, like whipping them or something, and he like goes out there and grabs the whip.
Mm.
That sounds like the first time he would have met them or met Pleath.
Mm.
He stands up to him. I feel
Mm.
like he would accidentally stand up to him though. That
Yeah,
would kind of
I
be the
do
thing
too.
initially, and so then maybe the next time is when he grabs the whip, or
Yeah,
the,
I
the
think
cattle
there's this.
prod.
Yeah, maybe Pleath is. I'm trying to think because that's tricky because he needs to do something accidentally that intimidates, I guess, Pleath enough, or
I think
knocks
just
him out.
having the sheriff's badge is
Yeah,
enough to intimidate him. He's like, "Oh, we got a lawman here," and everyone's like, and they all turn and look like he walks in or whatever. They would just know. They would
they
see
all
him.
immediately shoot him.
Yeah. um, but yeah, and he's just like, "I don't mean any harm. I'm not here. I'm not the law here or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're not. You're definitely not the law here.
Hmm.
Um, Baracco is the law here, and that's what matters."
Hmm.
Um, and there's actually an interesting theme there about where does the law come from, and it
Hmm.
doesn't come from one being kind of thing. It feels like the Ten Commandments a little bit. It's what Moses tells Pharaoh. It's like, the law doesn't come from one man kind
Hmm.
of thing. Um, that's cool.
Yeah,
And so
I,
yeah, that you kind of lean into that whole like philosophical disagreement, and that's really your conflict, is that eventually Chris does stand up because he believes that the law of one man is evil.
yeah. I think maybe it's the beginning. It's maybe he does the stand up, like, which is kind of weird if we make him too cowardly. He's like, "Hey, stop!" And then maybe there's not an altercation. There's just like he's like kind of puffing out his chest a bit. He's got the badge, and then like Cleeth is like, "Oh, a sheriff, huh?" He's like, "You leave these guys alone." And then he's like, "Oh, Mr. Tough Guy. All right. Well,
Hmm.
that they don't not do what they still take what they're doing, but they don't like
Hmm.
get into a full fight there. They're like, I'll give you one warning. People don't stand up to our crew." And then like
Yeah.
just that, but then that's like enough to make the town kind of like excited, you know?
Yes, exactly.
And then like it's like he walks behind the building and vomits because he's like so nervous or
Yeah.
something like that. But then I think that threads the needle of like making the town like have hope in him when
Hmm.
he's like, "Oh, what am I doing?" Like these guys are actually scared. Like wide eyes speak up.
I
Um,
like that. I thought of a line where it's like, want to see the last guy, the last lawman to step into our town? There he is. And they point up to like a cage, and it has like a bones in it, just it's
yeah.
birds pecking away at this guy. And it's like a super close shot of a sheriff's badge or like
Mhm. The
a
SpongeBob
lawman.
close up that we always talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Or just like a smash zoom like onto that. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, and then, like bugs crawling across the marshal's badge or whatever. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
And then yeah, we have and then they leave. Town's like, "Yeah, yeah, you're gonna save us. You're gonna keep this guy from
Yep.
you're gonna stop Baracco." And then he kind of like behind the scenes, he's like, "So tell me more about Baracco." And Lorraine's like, "He's a 20 foot tall cyclops." And Giovanni's with them at that point too. He's like, "So I think you've got you." It would
Yeah.
be funny if he's like a foghorn, leghorn. He's
Yeah.
like, "So I think you got your work cut
Oh,
out for you."
I say, sir, you got your work cut out for you. Yes, sir,
Yeah.
by the yard.
And then there could be a little scene where maybe he's like, I think that happens towards the end. Like they're like semi training him, preparing him.
Yeah.
Um, there's a scene where maybe he's like tries to leave town, and he's like, "I gotta get
Yeah.
out of here." He leaves town, and then he sees the fires, and then he runs back, and because like they burned down the
I feel like
farm.
he would have had that conversational thing where he's like, I'm not really a lawman,
Yeah,
and he like
yeah,
throws the badge down and he's leaving, but then he sees the fires and comes back.
yeah. Yep.
I think easy thing to cut for weight and time would be the other gang coming to get him.
Yeah, I feel like there's enough happening that we don't really need to fully
Yeah.
dive into them. Like maybe that's like maybe if he, well, I don't know. If we're kind of talking about him staying there. If he went back, then he could just be tough and like go
Tweaking the
avenge.
ending here, that's true. I want to keep him there though. I think it's seems
Hmm.
appropriate. Tweak the beginning would be that him and his lawman sheriff guy, um, I imagine they have to win the battle, so you don't think of some other gang is just out there.
Hmm.
But they lose the war, so to speak. Like, so you see the sheriff gets killed. He gets the sheriff killed.
Hmm.
Um, but how would he would have to have a badge at that point. I guess he could just have like the star that was pinned on him. It wouldn't have to be a
Um,
sheriff's badge. It could just be a,
we could do
deputy
something
badge.
like where I don't know. This might be forcing it a little bit where they win the battle, so to speak, but he was like he was hiding
Yes.
behind the thing, and then he comes out and like all the dead guys are dead, and the sheriff's dying,
Yes.
and then like he goes, "It's like, sir, sheriff, I'm sorry," and the sheriff's like, I don't know, like in his last moment, it's just like, you've gotta keep protecting the people, and like give like just
Yeah.
forces the badge on him, and then I do like the idea of the team. Like one of the bad guys rigged up the TNT on the bridge, and it's
Yeah.
like, and like it's just him on the bridge, and when it blows up, it like shoots him into the river.
That's
So
cool.
he
Okay,
at
that
that
makes
point
sense.
he has the badge. He's not courageous or anything.
Yeah.
Or the sheriff puts it on him, like he pins it
Yeah.
to the guy's shirt, and then the TNT goes off, and it just launches him into the
That's
river.
cool.
I think that helps all that beginning stuff. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, this isn't who I am." He throws it off. The farm burns down. He's like, "Okay, I've got to rise to the occasion." We have the troll thing, and then yeah, I think I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to perfectly tie it all off because like I do think it's a bit more like
Yeah.
cleverness. Um,
Yeah, I think well, he eventually he realizes he wants to fight for something, and I think he wants to fight for Lorraine. He sees Lorraine being like herded by Baracco,
yeah,
and he wants to get in there and save her. So I think he's motivated to be heroic. He's been kind of cheating a little bit here and there, but now he actually has to do it. He's learned about the troll thing, um, and maybe that's how he kills Pleath. Not too
yeah.
sure.
I think the troll helping him kill Pleath makes sense because that feels like a nice second bad guy death.
Hmm. Yes, it's
I do
bigger.
like, yeah. I like him going something like him like hiding and sneaking around the Baracco's thing, and then
Hmm.
there's this altercation where Baracco's like trying to like smash him and stuff, and
Mm.
he's like wily and getting through things and like going through passages, and basically the whole thing he's like sneaking around, and like Baracco's like climbing up, and then he's like, "You think you're gonna get away from me?" And like he gets to the top, and that cannon that he keeps at his hip, like basically Chris makes it his way to that, and then like so he like comes up and like Chris
Oh
is the
yeah,
cannon like
yeah.
pointed like right is like and just like shoots him through the head or something like that.
Nice,
Because I
nice.
think I think we need something like his little gun's not gonna kill
No,
Bracco,
of
but
course not. But yeah, shooting him right through the eye, that'd be cool.
yeah, but obviously like you need to thread that a little bit more. But I like that idea of he's like you're weak, you're tiny. I
Yeah.
was like you misplaced your gun, and he just like
Yeah,
fires
yeah,
over.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, classic Cyclops bungle is just like focusing too hard on something else.
Yeah,
And that's
they're
what he
kind
does
of
is
yeah.
he plays into all the
Mhm,
weaknesses of each of the like he learns to really think through fighting these guys where it's like, oh, I see his weakness is this. Like he really goes
mhm,
for these types of things. I like the idea that he runs into a horse pen or something and he's like underneath the horses
hmm.
and Baracco's like looking for him.
Like picking up horses and like
Yeah.
lift. I think that's
Yeah.
cool too.
Now the
Um,
Baracco, I mean, he's big, but that still would take some work. Like even at
oh,
20 feet, that would still take work to pick up a horse. He
that's
couldn't do
true.
it with one hand,
Yeah.
unless we wanted him to be that big. Um,
No, no, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's just this game of cat and mouse, and mouse outsmarts cat at the end.
yeah,
And then I don't know if he shoots him through the head, that I was gonna say he brings the head back, but it just be pulverized. It just
yeah, that's true. It just
um,
just big collapse thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he could. Wearing the badge, that's the big symbol. So like him taking up the identity. Um, but we could maybe use that in the fight with Baracco. He could throw it at his eye, blinding him. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's symbolically like,
Oh,
effective.
yeah. I
And
think getting rid of the badge, like, because yeah, whether he's throwing it or whether Baraka like takes it from him, that idea of he was trying to live up to the level
mhm.
of the sheriff because of that. He was trying to be what the badge represented, and then the realization of just like, no, I'm gonna do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, regardless of the badge, like whether I have it or
Mm,
not.
that's
Um,
good.
yeah, it is kind of funny if he just throws it at his eye. It's like the little
Yeah.
pin. Oh,
Yeah, well, it would like blind him a little bit, and then he could get to the gun. And like
yeah,
as soon as his eye recovers, he opens up. He's oh, the
yeah.
big oh, and then that's cool. That
and then
is that is cool.
and then there's like some other little goons, like they're like, "Brack, are you okay?" And then he just like
Falls
like
on top of
falls on
him.
the
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's cool. That's a solid ending, and then he ends up with Lorraine. Even though it's like, I don't think we fully consummate their love necessarily. I feel
yeah,
like it's weird, but it's just like, I'll stay in the town and I'll take care of you guys.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's like a deep friendship, kind of like hinting at something like
yeah,
deeper, but like it's not like we're getting married now.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I like it a lot. I think the title might be the name of the town.
That's
I
what I
think
was
you might
saying in
have
the
said that.
beginning. Yeah, I think that's probably. And I had a title in mind.
Mhm.
Um, I had two titles. One that was like I didn't know where we would go with it, so it felt like more open. The first title was that we won't go with is the Horse Boys,
The Horse Boys.
which I
Okay.
like just because it's like cowboys, but it's
Yeah.
like it's these. I imagine the centaurs being more bad guys and more populated. Like they were mainly the magical beings.
Mhm.
But instead, I like the name Gallop.
Ooh, okay. Is that Gallop?
I think so. There's like two
This
different.
is the this is the episode where people find out I cannot spell.
Yeah,
I think so.
no, that's it.
Gallop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The UP is the town in New Mexico, so it is a town. Um, I mean, it could be. We could add something else to it to make it a little bit more
Gallop.
ownable, where it's like full
Uh,
gallop, um, something to that
the
effect.
Gallop of Silver. That kind of sounds like a western.
Yeah, it does. I'm trying to think, or something like,
Loogie must die.
yeah, yeah, Loogie, kill that rat. Um, that's the best you guys could do, like as a bartender, is a
um,
rat. But yeah,
uh,
he doesn't die at the end. Logie doesn't die. I imagine he's still there. But
no,
yeah, I like Gallop. Again, full Gallop or something like that.
full
Um,
Gallop. Oh man, hold on. I get what you're saying. I'm trying to think of the other word that would go with it.
Full Metal
Um,
Gallop.
I was thinking Full Metal Gallop. Um, get
That could be kind
Gallop Town. That's the name of the town.
of Gallop Town.
Gallop Town. It might just be Gallop. Maybe it's just
Yeah,
Gallop.
I feel like that's fine.
All
Like,
right.
and that's just the town that they live in.
Oh, the town of Gallop.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. I'm gonna make that in my notes too. The town is called Gallop. Uh, like centaurs got here first. It was founded by centaurs, so
yeah,
named it
exactly.
Gallop. Yeah,
And maybe there is more of them than there are of other
yeah,
races or whatever. Boom.
yeah.
There you go. I like
Yeah,
it.
I think Gallup's really good. I think I like these characters. I like this twist on the Western. I think it's really fun. I think Chris's arc is really cool. I like our
Yeah.
bad guys and characters a lot. Pleath is cool.
Oh yeah.
Giovanni's fun. Um,
Yeah,
I
bringing him
like it.
back in at the end somehow would be great. Don't have time to figure that out, but yes, it
Who,
is. It is
Giovanni?
very. Yeah, yeah. Like I imagine he plays some part in helping stop Baracco, or maybe
Yeah,
he's the mayor now. Maybe he cleaned up, and he's
yeah,
like, hey, you inspired me to clean up. Look at me, Or
yeah.
maybe actually double accurate. He does inspire him. He stands up to Pleath or whatever. He maybe helps them with another skirmish. This is
Hmm.
Chris, and then what is it? Giovanni sees it and he's like, I really wanted to, I cleaned up or whatever. And he's like, I want to run for mayor or whatever. And then Baracco has him killed.
Uh, Oh, he like cleans up beforehand and Baraka
Yeah.
has him killed?
Yeah. So that's like the town kind of culminating where it's like, okay, we have a lawman now. That means we can do something. And Giovanni's like, well, my family was in politics. I don't know.
I
But
like it.
he ends up cleaning up and it gets him killed, basically.
Nice.
Which I think
Well,
adds a nice level of weight to some of the story there. Like they killed Giovanni.
They killed Giovanni.
Which I don't know. I made it more. They killed a Giovanni.
Sweet. Well, I think we've got Gallop. It's a solid story. I think we need to just come up with an along the lines for it.
I do too. I think that is an important thing.
I do really think something with the badge makes sense because I feel like that badge kind of represents his art. It's like it's a representation of his artificial courage.
Yes.
And him taking hold of real courage after the fact.
Yes.
Something
about not needing the badge.
Yeah.
Somebody tells him maybe it's Lorraine's dad. Like it was never about the badge. It's always about the man behind the badge.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, let's do. I feel like does it make sense for the dad to do that? Yeah, I guess like if he takes Lorraine or Baraka takes Lorraine, the dad's branded, but he's like injured and at home. I think he's the kind of encouraging. He's like, I've messed up. I thought I could be someone important.
Yeah.
This badge, like I'm not the owner of this badge. It's like, and then I'm teeing you up, and then the dad looks at him. He grabs him by the shoulder and looks him in the eyes, and he says,
"It was never about the badge. It was always about the man behind the badge."
Thank you all for listening to StoryFellas, a part of the Pemmican Studios podcast network. Check out our show notes for bonus material, links, and more. To find out more about our current projects, send us messages, and suggest ideas for the show, go to storyfellaspodcast.com. If you liked what you heard, share the show with a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to grow this community. Until next time, go make and break those stories.